Greetings, Earthlings! Crazy old gringo here. Hey, so it's pretty much the middle of August and it's hot, like normal, and the humidity is screaming high, so it makes it a little bit difficult to spend a whole lot of time outside, which means I've got to find something to do to entertain myself, and making the video may be the thing. I've been putting this off for quite a period of time. One is because I'm pretty much an introvert, and I think it's okay to be humble and modest and not necessarily share everything about yourself. Not that anyone would be interested anyway, but I have some insights that might be helpful, and over the next few months or years, well, maybe you'll find this to be interesting, particularly now. And the reason I say that is because I live in a little place called Puerto Peñasco, Sonora, Mexico. My cost of living is about $500 a month. And that's for me to live like a normal human being. If I want to go out and eat, I can go out and eat. But for the most part, my rent is $166 a month. The cable is, I think, $25 a month. The electricity is about $80 every 2 months. The rest of it is food, whatever. I will tell you that I live off of Social Security and I get military disability. I have plenty of money. No car payments. Got rid of AT&T, so I don't have that stupid bill anymore. But let me tell you how I wound up here. Maybe it'll be interesting to you, and maybe it won't. I've been down here about 7 years now, and I will tell you that Rocky Point, if you look it up, you'll see that it's called Arizona's beach. And a lot of people from Phoenix, Tucson, Yuma, all over the place, really, even California now, like to come down to Puerto Peñasco because it's right on the Sea of Cortez. Little fishing village, now tourist village, but yes, the fishing industry is still going strong. Lots of shrimp, lots of any kind of seafood you can imagine. It's great. You can go diving out here. You can go snorkeling. You're going to see whale sharks. You're going to see seals, dolphins. I mean, everything. The Sea of Cortez is pretty rich in life, and people like to come here both on holiday, but most importantly for this conversation is people purchased property, either in condos or houses, or in my case, a mobile home, a fifth wheel trailer that was to be used on weekends. Once in a while, people would come down and stay, 3-day holiday, and then they'd go back up to Phoenix and live. And I did the same thing years ago. I bought this place, and the intent was, and it was used for that purpose, was to come down every once in a while and enjoy it. And I did. And the dogs were safe. That was important to me. Well, about 8 years ago, I had an opportunity to do a job in Cabo San Lucas. And I drove all the way from Phoenix to Cabo San Lucas. And I thought this would be an interesting place to work and live. I thought that because I'd spent a lot of my life having many adventures all over the world. Lots of excitement, some danger, interesting things. And I was probably about 55 years old, and I didn't want to just fade away, become old, and not have anything new to look forward to. I still wanted adventures. I still wanted something exciting. And so that was about the same time that I bought this place. And the big plus for me was that it had a big area for my dogs to be in, and if I needed to take off and go do a job or, go away for a while, the handyman here would come by every day. The dogs loved him. He would feed them, water them, make sure they were okay, play with them, whatever was needed. That was very important to me. Well, that didn't really last all that long. Maybe a year, and I decided, you know what, there's no reason why I can't live down here, with the eventual goal of, traveling to Mexico, going back to Asia, going back to Europe, places I've been, but, places I want to see again. Camping, all those things. And I thought, it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to have a home base where I'm not paying a mortgage, something that I can just go do and spend most of my money doing other things. And, essentially I'm paying $166 a month for a place I can come back to anytime I want. And that's what I did. I moved January 1st of, 7-8 years ago. I decided to move in full time. Now, it's a 30-foot fifth wheel trailer. And so what does that make it? 240 livable square feet on the inside, and I've got twice that on the outside. There's a huge patio that's covered and enclosed, and an upstairs deck. So it's a pretty big area. Not that I really care, because about the same time I was looking at, buying a place, I was becoming very interested in tiny homes. All kinds of tiny homes, the architecture of tiny homes and yurts, cargo trailers, all kinds of stuff. I was getting interested in that. So the idea of living smaller was keen to me. I really liked that idea. I liked the idea of a smaller carbon footprint too. So I was thinking along the lines of, what can I do to stop putting fossil fuels up into the air, stuff like that. So this opportunity came along for me to live here on next to nothing, in not the biggest space that I could possibly get. It's bigger than I need, for sure. There's another logic that goes along with this. The last home I owned in Chandler was around 3,000 square feet. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, upstairs living area, downstairs game room, pretty big outside. And if you're a homeowner, you know that you're buying a place for the square footage. The circumstances that I was in, I had someone living in that house with me that it wasn't good. It just was not good. It was toxic. Her fault, my fault, doesn't matter. I was unhappy. It didn't make a lot of sense to me to wake up on the first of the month and owe $6,000, bare minimum $6,000, to do something that I didn't want to do, and I wasn't happy doing it. And the reality is I was living in one of the rooms. That was my den. I slept in there, and I would come out into the game room downstairs, and so I was living in two rooms, and the rest of the place was hers and her son's. And so eventually I got out of it. And through my journey of looking at tiny homes and spaces and trying to figure out the logic of all of it, I saw a young woman on a YouTube video. I think she was maybe 21. And that was her exact logic. She said, I'm paying by the square footage. Why would I buy something that I'm not going to need or use? It makes perfect sense, and that's where I'm at too. Why would I be paying for something that I'm not going to need or use? Especially now that I'm almost 65 years old. The last thing in the world I want is a mortgage anywhere. Now, if you're watching this up in the United States, you know that real estate, especially if you're going to try to rent something, is a problem. If you own it, I think that you're probably doing pretty good right now. I don't know that you're going to be doing good tomorrow, but good for you. If you own your property, you're doing great. If you're trying to rent something, It's a drag, and you might be looking for alternatives, and there's all kinds of alternatives. Bob Wells, Cheap RV Living, talks about people living in vans and RVs and cars and, all kinds of things. And I think more and more people are going to try to find alternative living because they're just not going to be able to sustain any kind of lifestyle in the United States. People are going to the Philippines, which I'll talk about at another time. They're going to Thailand and Mexico, all over Mexico. You don't have to be in Puerto Penasco, which is 1 hour away from the Arizona border. Worked for me because, something, I'm 65. I go to the Veterans Administration once a year for my physical. Maybe once in a while I'll have to go up to something more serious. But so far, no. There's adequate doctors down here for simple stuff. But that's why I'm here. 4 months of the year, I wish I wasn't, because it's miserable. But if I was living in Phoenix in August, I would be inside the air conditioner, or I would be out in a pool somewhere. And it's the same probably all over the United States with the heat wave the way it is. And so, this is just kind of a boilerplate of why I'm here. It will give you an idea of what you're going to see in some of the later videos. And if you've watched the channel before, you'll see that I go around to different taco places and do reviews, but it's been a while since I posted. I'm going to do more because I think the time is right for people to seriously consider getting out of their comfort zone and taking control of their lives instead of letting a landlord decide what your living conditions are going to be and whether you can afford it or not. There's plenty of channels like this one. I watch most or all of them. They have great advice. Maybe you'll get some great advice out of this too. You may not agree with everything, but be civil. Be nice, be kind. There's too much nonsense going on out there for me to bring that over into this neighborhood. So, just a review. Been down here for 7-8 years. I have about a $500 a month living expense. I live off of Social Security and military disability. For the record, I just retired from my job, so I don't have that income coming in anymore. No car payments. Could you live without a car down here? Sure, lots of people do. Average income for Mexicans about $500 a month. Lots of taxis. I am at the point where I'm trying to get around everywhere on my bicycle, just because I don't want to put more crap in the air. And plus, it's making me healthier, which is something that I can always use, because I'm a fat, crazy old gringo. Anyway, look for more. I know it's boring. Maybe it's putting you to sleep. But if this is something that's piquing your interest on living down here or living anywhere, can you do it? Is it possible? The answer is yes.